Hi everybody, it's Lisa Lewis. So today it's just going to be me because I'm going to be talking about how to bring our cat, how we brought our cat from the United States to Spain, and I was the one that predominantly did all the logistical stuff for it, so that's why it's just me today. But I'm going to try and walk you guys through everything that I learned, literally from the USDA website all the way to our arrival here in Spain, and everything in between, even the flight, talking to the attendant at the airport, stuff like that, and just kind of putting a lot of info in the description so you know where to click and where to go. So logistically, just so you know, we flew from LAX to direct flight to Madrid, Spain. And that was on January 31st of 2024. And we flew on Iberia, so they allow in-cabin animals. So smaller animals, of course, cats and small dogs. So I think you do have to get in there quick and let them know once you make your ticket, but Iberia does allow in-cabin. So that's one of the reasons why we actually picked them as opposed to maybe British Air or something like that. So just so you know that. Now logistically, the stuff like a carrier, I'm going to post a link down below what we actually used. I did use one of those that actually has a pop out, so she would have more room while she was just waiting at the airport or whatnot. And then I bought potty pads in case she peed in her carrier from being scared. And just so you know, our cat Skittles, she's about 10 years old. She weighs about 8 pounds, and she's healthy, and she's a Siamese. You'll see, I'll put some pictures of her. She is a scaredy cat. So if you have a super scaredy cat, a cat or dog, or scaredy cat dog, then this hopefully will help, because our cat is super scared of people, of loud noises. So we were really, really worried of how she was going to react through this whole entire process. It brought a lot of stress about it because she's such a scaredy cat. And then we had, I bought a portable litter box that we actually used. I'll put a link to the one I got. We actually used that one probably about 3 months prior to us leaving. So it really had her scent on there. I had done research about that, and that Cat Galaxy guy, I forget his name, he's on Discovery Plus. He says that you should have a portable litter box, but never wash it out. So I know that sounds gross, but it's necessary for them to have their scent on something, especially the litter, anything really. I tried to put my like a t-shirt in her carrier. It didn't seem to do much, but that's also an option, to have something of yours in her carrier, like an old t-shirt or whatever. But so the litter, we bought a portable litter box. She used it about 3 months prior to actually leaving. When it's time to go, I just emptied out the litter, left it all there, folded, so it's a foldable one. You fold it and you just stick it in a Ziploc bag. And then I also had a small portable bowl and a little comb for her, because when she gets really scared, she sheds a lot. So those are the things. We also actually got her a collar and a leash, and that's for the airport. So we didn't get her anything fancy. I just went to PetSmart or Petco, and we got her a regular leash. Now, it's not like a harness. If your cat will wear a harness, that's great. Ours would not. So we understand that a leash itself is not the greatest, but it was the only thing that she would wear, and we were able to, it's like a collar, I'm sorry. We put a collar around her, and then we had to attach a leash to that. It was really only for emergencies. So when she poked her head out of the carrier, we had that collar and leash attached to it, and held on to the leash just in case. But she never bolted or anything anyway. And it was really important that we have that through security. So that's the logistical stuff and all the stuff that we did prior to it even doing the going to the vets and all that good stuff. So now in America, the company you're going to be dealing with is the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture. I'll put a link to that website down below. You're going to want to look up wherever you're going, what their requirements are. Every country is different, right? So Spain's requirement is that she be microchipped and then given a 1-year rabies and have a health certificate completed. And that's pretty much it. So Spain also says that it's for non-commercial, because she's just our pet, it's not any for commercial reasons. Non-commercial health certificates are valid for 30 days. I'm kind of reading it off of the USDA. For 30 days after the accredited veterinary issues it. So I say that because I want to throw out some logistical stuff to you guys so you know right off the bat. I emailed the USDA a couple times and they responded through email within about 2 days, but if you call them, they answer with maybe you're on hold for like 30 seconds. They're super responsive. Don't be afraid to call them. They answer your question. They don't rush you off the phone. They're actually really, really good. So that was actually surprising because I thought it was going to be like I was going to get answering machine after answering machine, but they actually answer. So I had told them about 2 things. I wanted to know 2 things. One, we were potentially going to leave. We were living in Las Vegas, Nevada, but we were going to potentially leave, we were going to visit my sister in Santa Clara, California. So, and we were going to visit her within those 10 days prior to leaving. And so I wanted to know if it was okay that we actually visit a vet outside of our home city and have it delivered to her address. And they said that that was totally fine. It didn't matter where you were. It didn't matter where the vet was, the accredited vet from your hometown. So if that's a big deal for you, just know that. But I'm going to get into something else. The requirement for Spain is that you visit the first requirement is that you get the microchip and the rabies. And then the next thing is you visit your vet 30 days prior to leaving. They call it ship date, is what they actually call it. And they want you to visit the vet within 30 days. What happens and what the USDA told me was that they prefer that you complete the health certificate within 30 days of your ship date, and then put the ship date on there. And then what they'll do is they'll put you in the queue so that within 10 days of your ship date or departure date, and then they go in and actually sign and confirm the health certificate. So she said that they prefer that you do it that way. I couldn't get a vet to understand that. They all felt like the health certificate had to be done and certified all within 10 days. So if you can get a vet to do that, to actually do the health certificate within the 30 days, understanding that the USDA will not sign it until 10 days prior because they know what they're doing. But it was hard for me. But so just FYI, that was one of the emails that I had sent. And the other thing I had talked to them about, and this is all just logistical stuff in case you need to know this as well, is that you do not have to mail the health certificate and send it through their digital software. It's all done. It's all done through their digital software. So I'll get into picking a vet that actually does it through their software here in a second. But those are the emails that I had with the USDA directly. Now, the first thing you want to do is pick a vet. And the vet that does the microchip and rabies, I don't think has to be an accredited USDA vet. But for safety's sake, I picked a vet that was on the accredited USDA website list. And I saw on Reddit that someone had used Banfield, and Banfield is a veterinarian inside of PetSmart. And so I just went with them because he seemed to think they did a good job and, you know, there was no problems. So now Skittles we went in, made an appointment, went in. Unfortunately, the attendants in the front weren't really familiar with international travel, so that made me really nervous. And I didn't get a chance to actually talk to the vet. That I had to do a drop-off, so that was a whole nother drama. But if you can actually be there with the vet, that would be better. And then but what they did was, because she had a chip prior when she was a kitten, and I don't think I even realized that, but the chip itself was a short, you know, it has to be 15 digits long, and her original chip was only about 8. And so they did have to give her another one, and it was a Home Again chip, a microchip. So in America, I think the Home Again brand is very common. So I freaked out about that. I didn't know. I thought it had to be an international chip, and they kept claiming, no, this is what's an international one. It is 15 digits. Sure enough, it was 15 digits. So if they give you the Home Again, just make sure it's the 15 digits, but the Home Again ones are the correct ones. It will work. And then so they had to do the microchip and the rabies vaccine on the same day. Now, I was freaking out because I thought that, you know, they do have to do the microchip first, and then they do the rabies shot. Now, I thought there was you had to register it. It was going to be a problem because it was same day, and maybe I made a mistake and I should have took her a few days earlier and got the microchip and then went in and got the rabies, but it didn't matter. On the actual rabies certificate, it shows that it's the same day. There's no time stamp, and that was okay. So don't worry about that. If you're doing it on the same day, it's okay. I'm proof that it worked. So, and then when I got home, well, so first of all, it was $182. So just kind of give you a gist. We did go in December of 2023, and at Banfield, we paid about $182. At the time too, I asked her or him, the vet, about anxiety pills or anxiety medicine or something. And he did give her something. I ended up not using it, but I wanted to have something just in case. It was gabapentin. I don't know. I think its purpose is for something else, but the consequences of her getting that is they get sleepy. So I guess they give it to cats for anxiety. It was really a last resort. We were trying other things like homeopathic drops that I got from that Cat Galaxy guy. None of it seemed to work. We even tried Fellaway. That didn't seem to do anything. So our cat is just super anxious and scared. We just felt bad about giving her any kind of medication, so we just didn't. But it was good to have it just in case. Okay, so now you got the microchip and the rabies. And one thing I forgot to mention is you have to get the rabies shot. You have to do it 21 days prior to your departure. So at least 21 days. So we left on January 31st and I got it done on December 6th. So that was plenty of time for that 20-day window. And I guess they just want to make sure that they want a 21-day window to make sure that your cat doesn't react to that rabies vaccine. So that's all about. So you just got to make sure you do get that. I would say a month earlier is probably fine, but or even 2 months earlier, it just needs to get done at least 21 days. So now we got that shot, and now we got the microchip and the rabies shot. And now the next thing we needed to do was make a health certificate appointment. I tried to actually go back to Banfield. But I had trouble with them. So, sorry Banfield, I'm gonna bash you a little bit. But I had trouble with them. I called about 6 different ones. So when I went to call the original one, the vet was going on vacation during the whole month of January. So I couldn't use him again. And then the other vet that was supposed to be accredited there was no longer working there. I called a total of 6 different Banfields, and 4 of them, the vet that was accredited on the USDA accredited vet list, which I'll link that down below, they were no longer with Banfield. So it was difficult to get an appointment with them. And then 1 or 2 of them really didn't have a good grasp of how to do international health certificates. So made me really nervous. So I went back to the USDA accredited vet list and just started calling. There was one that wouldn't allow me because we were new to the Vegas area. It was kind of a transition place before we actually moved to Spain. We didn't have a vet there. They didn't want to help me. They didn't do new patient health certificates. I did get a quote from one particular one. It was $286 plus fees. And then I got a quote from the one I actually went to, and that one was $190 plus fees. And it turned out I went to, so if you're in Las Vegas, Nevada, go to Craig Road Animal Hospital. They were amazing. They did everything, and they did everything right. And they made me actually feel like they knew what they were doing, even when I made the appointment. So they were a total of $336, and that includes the USDA fees. So their fee was $190 plus whatever the fee, and that also includes $90 for the FedEx next day shipping, FedEx next day shipping. And they did the really fast one. They did the FedEx by 8 a.m. Next day shipping. And what they do is they actually send it from their office and have it shipped back to their office. And then they call you when it's ready. So they were great. All they did, it was super easy. It's not even something to stress about, although you may stress anyway, because I did no matter what. But so we had our appointment on Monday, January 29th. So they were also one of the vets that I tried to get an appointment 30 days prior to us leaving, but they also insisted that I make the appointment with and do the the vet appointment within 10 days of departure. So I couldn't get any vet to understand that Spain's requirements were different, that they were okay with the appointment being done 30 days, but the health certificate was not going to be stamped until within 10 days of departure. I couldn't get them to understand that. So I did have to make the appointment. I just ended up throwing my hands up in the air and making the appointment on the 29th. It's a Monday before we left, because we were leaving the following Tuesday to head over to LAX. So it was scary. And I made my appointment at 9 a.m. I was trying to get in there early. I was trying to hopefully get, I don't know, just get it to the USDA as soon as possible. I didn't have to. There may be some vets where you have to get the FedEx shipment beforehand and then send that to the vet as a PDF. I called Craig Animal Hospital and they said they don't need that. And it turns out they didn't. They did it all from their system. What's great about a vet that will actually do everything from their end is that they will send the health certificate through the online service of the USDA. That online service is called Veterinary Export Health Certification System. They call it VHEX, VEHCX for short. So you preferably want to find a vet that they send all the paperwork through that online system. And so, like I was mentioning before, there is no mailing in anymore. I think before it used to be like that, where you had to mail in the health certificate, or next day the health certificate, and then have a bunch of papers filled out online. You had to print them all and sign them all. All that's gone, especially if you get a vet that actually does all the online, has access to that online system, and they all just send it straight through directly to the USDA. So find a vet that will do that, the whole thing, through that veterinary export health certification system. Okay, so Craig Road Animal Hospital did that. And when we went in, all she did was really just take Skittles' temperature and looked at her and asked me questions about her health, and just did a general checkup. They wanted the rabies certificate, and on that rabies certificate had the microchip number, and so we just had to point that out to them. And they wanted the address to the Airbnb we're staying at, so make sure you have that. Microchip, or the rabies certification should have the microchip number on it, and don't forget the address to the place wherever you're staying when you get to your destination. And all that happened after that is the vet took off. She took off, came back, someone else, vet tech came in, showed us the health certificate, wanted me to make sure that the microchip number that I had on the rabies certificate matched what she had on the health certificate, make sure our address matched, the address to the Airbnb was right, and then I signed it. She took off, and then a few minutes later, the vet said, it's gone. It's sent over to the USDA. They have to tell you, we can't guarantee you when it's going to get here, yada, yada, yada. They scare you a little bit. And I just completely understood. She said that there was only one time, and that person was going to China, where it made it within 24 hours of actually that person departing. But she said most of the time it's really, there's enough time. And and then I paid. And then, so what they did, I asked her, she said that they paid it in advance through their system. So it was all paid and sent to the USDA. And then I pay the vet back. And I just give them a credit card and they handle that. And that was it for that. Now, the next step, so I just waited. At that point, I waited and believed, and that was all you could do at that moment. Friday morning, so remember we got this done on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Friday morning at 7:30 in the morning, because my vet did the really early 8 a.m. FedEx thing. And on Friday, February 2nd, I got a call at 7:30 from the vet saying, it's ready, come get it. So that is a huge, huge relief. But that's how long it took from Monday to Friday. And now, taking you on to the airport. So it's time to go, right? Try and get there early. Like, The Iberia window or the customer service didn't open until 4 hours before our flight left. So we got there 4 hours before the flight left. And what happens there depends on your customer service rep. Ours happened to pick our, have to be new, unfortunately. So she took our health certificate, looked at it, and looked at it more. She asked someone else. The girl said everything was fine, but then she took it and went to the back. So it was kind of like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? And she kind of mumbled, you know, it's okay, everything's good, but then she still took it to the back. So, and then she came back, everything was fine. She didn't stamp it, she didn't do anything. I did have it all in one place, so make sure you have it all in one place. I had all pages of the certificate there with the rabies vaccine paper clipped to the back of the health certificate. And that's what all I gave them. And they looked at every single page. And then she gave it back and said everything is fine. It'll be $210. So she never weighed Skittles. She never took her out. She never even hardly looked at her. So that was our experience. She didn't even look at her or weigh her or do nothing. Didn't even look at the carrier. They just scrutinized the paperwork more than anything. And then it was $210. If you go to your airline's website under the pet policy, they usually have the price, usually from US to anywhere in Europe, it's about $210. There's 3 different prices on there. I think one of them is for pounds and the other one, I don't know what it is, but I just budgeted for the higher amount, and sure enough, I was right, it was $210. Now it's time to go through security. And this part was scary. You can go through and ask for a private room. I've heard people say that a lot. Now, I think our issue with that was, well, my son agreed to just pick her out of there, take her out of the carrier, because they don't allow you to, you have to physically take them out of the carrier and walk them through. And he volunteered to actually do that. So he was the brave soul to do that. We did have our collar on and he held onto the leash. We do have TSA pre-check, but unfortunately, Iberia doesn't participate in that program. So we were actually hoping that because it was going to be a TSA check-in, you know, that line is usually a lot calmer. There's less things you have to do because you don't have to take off your shoes and everything. But we found out at the last minute that Iberia doesn't allow that. So we had to go through the general security, and that was complete chaos. And we were at LAX in the international airline section, and it just so happened, I'm just saying our experience, the person that was telling everyone what to do was really, there was a lot of yelling going on. I think there were some people that didn't understand her because she was speaking in English, and so it was total chaos. And I don't know how my son did it. He ended up he took her out. I saw her, him holding her, and she had her claws in him. She was scared out of her mind. But so normally you have to go through there and do that security thing, you know, that, I don't know what it's called, that scan. But someone saw him and just directed him to the side, and I think they just wanded him and her, and that was kind of it. And he was able to go through. If you have someone to help you, I think it's okay to go through that security. Or if your cat or dog is not a super scaredy cat like ours is, it may be okay, especially if you have help, because sometimes you got to wait for that carrier to go through. Sometimes it takes forever. There's total chaos going on through security, and it's hard to go over there, and that means you have to be by all these people. So luckily, we were able to just grab the carrier as soon as we could and bring it to him because he was off to the side. But if you don't have help, I would just tell maybe the person who's scanning your passport that you need a private room. Or you're going to have to be pretty aggressive and try and get someone attention to give you that private room. It may be worth it, especially if you're traveling by yourself or really don't have a lot of help. But you know, there was 4 of us traveling, so it was okay. But she made it, and it was like right when we got through, he put her back in the carrier, and off we went. Now, while we were waiting for the airline, we were going to go on an 11-hour flight, 11-hour nonstop flight, and she's never been on a plane before. So we didn't know how it was going to work out. She was pretty tense. We tried to go to a family bathroom. We took out her litter box, filled it with a little, I had like a little gallon of litter that I had on my carry, or I had it somewhere. And then we filled it in one of those private family bathrooms. And then I put out her water bowl. I actually tried to give her water twice, but she didn't drink at all. And then when I took out the litter, all she really did was get in the litter and sit in it. So not, you know, I think that's where that comfort came in, where she smelled something that was familiar, and the litter was clean, but the litter box itself was just kind of dumped out. So, but she smelled her scent and just felt comfortable in that litter box, but she never did anything. So we tried, and I even tried to give her a couple morsels of food, nothing. She was just too scared. So it was okay. I gave her food and water in the morning because our flight didn't leave till 6:30 p.m. So she did eat that day because we had that luxury of having a late flight. So she was able to drink and eat that morning. But I did cut her off somewhere around 12. I think I cut her off because we were trying to get to the airport early and everything. Okay, now is the flight. So they tell you, and they even told us as we're walking in, don't let her come out of that carrier. So we tried that. It didn't work. So they don't really even, I don't know, I guess don't tell Iberia any of this. But when we were taking off, I kept her extra side that folded out, normally folds out. I kept that all closed because I heard someone say that they had that open at takeoff and there was too much room, so the cat kind of fell back on it or fell, you know, forward onto it. And so her cat like tinkled a little bit in there. So I didn't want that to happen. So I did have it closed. I'll put some pictures of what it actually looked like. It didn't fit really well in the space. No one even measured the thing, like I said, to even see if it didn't fit. And we were in premium economy, so that kind of gives you an idea of the space that we have there. And so when we were taking off, though, it got really loud, super loud, and she just started clawing the heck out of her cage. And so I panicked, I unzipped it, and she ran up me, and I had to hold her. Well, it wasn't that hard, she's not that strong, but I held her really tight and just whispered, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay." So that's how the takeoff went. And then she kind of just settled down on my lap pretty much the whole flight. And I tried to get her back into the carrier. I'm pretty sure the stewardesses saw her, but didn't say anything. And it was dark. You know, we were traveling at night, so overnight. So that's just another thing. But that's what we had to do. I did end up giving her to my son who was behind me. And what really worked was he kept her inside the carrier, but on his lap. And that actually seemed to work. I don't know what he did at landing, if he actually put her down there or not, or, you know, at the seat, but she was fine. She made it through. Now, in Malaga, so we landed in Madrid, and every airport's going to be different, but there is a customs for your pet, and most of them are at the luggage area. So when you pick up your luggage, you're going to have your pet with you already, and then there's an area. We were in Terminal 4 in Madrid, so if this helps anybody. that's where we were. And a lot was happening during that time. If you watch our channel, and there's a couple videos prior to this, my husband has lost his passport. So there was a lot of things going on. So as we were leaving, I completely forgot to register or claim Skittles. We ended up walking through, because it's easy to actually miss the custom area, the window, the office that you're supposed to go to. So, but just know, if you do walk out those white glass doors and you forget, go back. They will let you in. I just said, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. And he let only me in with Skittles. I went in, and it was over, it would be on the left-hand side if you were walking out the main gate. But in your airport, just look for, I would just ask a security person that's usually standing around by doors. Ask them where do you check in your pet, and they'll tell you where to go. Now, when I arrived there, he asked for the paperwork. I gave him the same paperwork, the health certificate with the rabies attached to the back of it. I gave him that. He wanted proof of travel, so I gave him, luckily I still had my airplane ticket, so just somebody hold on to their airplane ticket and have that ready. Give them that. And then he wanted my copy of my passport, so give them that. And then he handed me the transmitter and just said, because now at this point he's behind the window, he said, to scan your microchip. So I scanned it, and it shows the number on there. So if your pet does have 2 microchips and one's an old one, I saw that it was the old one at first. So I went back and scanned it slightly off center of where that one was. And sure enough, I saw the 15-digit number. I knew that her microchip number started with 9, and then I knew the first few numbers. I don't know how, I just knew them. And so I was able to look at that transmitter and say, okay, that's the right one. I gave it back to him. He didn't really scrutinize the health certificate. He kind of just looked at it really quick and boom, stamped the last page. That was it. So that's it, guys. At that point, after he stamped her health certificate, we were out of there. And now Skittles is here officially, and she loves it here, and she's super happy. It was a stressful process because there's a lot of unknowns. So I'm hoping this video really helps clear up some of those unknowns. And if I missed something, feel free to ask me in the comments below, because I went through everything, especially for Spain. I kind of went through everything, and so have an idea. And try not to freak out too much. Try to relax, enjoy the process, and just believe it'll all work out in the end, and you'll bring your baby with you. Okay. All right. Let me know if you guys have any further questions. Thanks for watching. Take care.